government are failing us. I'm so scared for my children. What are these politicians doing to us? They're putting our children in so much danger.
If you are in the UK, watch out. Your country has officially fallen.
Guys, honestly speaking, at this point, I believe the government just needs to come forward and admit that they have lost control over the situation in the United Kingdom.
Harrowing videos of women being threatened with death if they don't accept the advances of men.
I get that,
I've got a camera surrounding me. Wallah, I want to pull through your hair right now. Do you know that?
I understand.
Can you leave me the fuck alone?
It is with great sadness today I'm here to advise that 2 children have died as a result of the injuries sustained in this morning's knife attack. 9 other children have been injured and 6 of them are in a critical condition.
Back the fuck up. You just jumped across the tracks to come and chat to me. Go back to your stuff.
Yeah, that's calm.
What do you mean? Stay away from me, bro.
Cool. Let me chat.
No, I don't want to chat to you. Fuck off. Fuck off. I don't want to chat to you. I don't know you from anywhere. Fuck off.
I'll follow you.
Go away.
This has been the most horrific incident we have ever faced here in Greater Manchester, and one that we all hoped we would never see. Families and many young people were out to enjoy a concert at the Manchester Arena and have very sadly lost their lives.
And of course, that video could go on and on and on as the UK descends into absolute chaos, knife crime, terrorist attacks, innocent citizens murdered walking their dogs, going to pop concerts, merely getting on a bus, children being slaughtered at a dance class, barriers of peace everywhere, and Christmas is rapidly approaching. Good evening, everyone. On tonight's show, we are going to be addressing the following 2 questions, and I'm inviting you guys to take part. Firstly, is it time for the government to relax self-defense laws and permit citizens to carry illegal, non-lethal pepper spray and potentially even low-level tasers? Secondly, is it time that we saw taser-armed security guards at every single school, every single child gathering in the country, to include places like theme parks and Christmas markets, etc.? To take part and join me live, use the link in the video description. It's also in the chat. And if you're a bit camera shy, don't worry, you can just come on, leave your camera off. And if you prefer to use your audio only, that is absolutely fine. First person is already in. It is Toon Brew. Good evening, Toon Brew. How are you, mate? Can you hear me?
Hiya, Paul. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Good, yeah. Mate. What's on your mind?
As we can be. I think the biggest thing that I would say is there seems to be a real lack of understanding by a lot of people, even you sometimes, Paul, that this situation, and you say, and I don't blame you for it, and even the rest of the social media, but they say, what if the government do this, the government should do that, they should be doing. You need to wake up, everybody. The government are doing exactly what they want to do. What's happening with these hundreds of thousands, and believe me, it's not just the illegals, it's the legal immigration, which is, I think, is well in excess of 1 million since Labour have come in, and they're doing that by the back door. These people are coming in with aiding and abetting and supporting of this government. It's not they should be doing this, let's persuade them to do that. This is what they want. They want this. And people need to wake up to it. And, you know, it's all very well saying they should be, we'd like them to. It's not going to happen. The government are doing what they want to do.
So
what I would say...
What's the answer?
What I would say, I think, unfortunately, we're at a point where there's no choice. People now have to gather together, local lads, to protect their communities, and they need to defend themselves. and put themselves in a position where they can defend themselves. And if the police don't like that, then I'm sure that there are bent coppers that are monitoring this station right now. And so be it, come and get me. But I'm afraid with what's going on, that we need to now actually put ourselves in a position where we can defend ourselves. This is only going to get worse. And what I honestly believe is going to happen is there is going to be a mass butchering of people in this country, and the police will be nowhere. It will just happen. Unfortunately, we've just got to arm up and defend ourselves, not attack anybody, but be in a place to defend ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, some of those comments are,
I understand that. I understand
they're dangerous,
that.
mate. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to be very, very careful, because the problem is, and this is the problem which you need to understand, whilst you might be a very sensible, level-headed person and you would never attack anyone, unfortunately, there are people out there that don't know how to behave and don't know where the line is.
I'm 60 years old, Paul, and all I want is to look after my family and my grandkids and work as I have done for the last 44 years, a taxpayer, and I literally have never taken anything off this nation, other than, I've paid for it, putting the kids through schooling, etc. But I've never taken anything. I don't want to fight I couldn't fight my way out of a paper bag. But I'm not going to stand by while people I love and care about are vilified and attacked.
Yeah,
in the way
I think from a legal perspective, I want to make it clear for everyone. I think what Toonbury is saying is that he will be prepared to defend himself. You're not talking about going on
absolutely,
the offensive.
No, but I anybody that wants to go out there and create violence unilaterally, they need their head read. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's defence. And unfortunately, the police, the judiciary, the CPS, the government, they are corrupt. They are not doing the jobs that they should be doing. And unfortunately, if we have a choice, we can do nothing. But if we do nothing, we know what's going to happen. The people who've got their heads screwed on now know. If you can't read what's going to happen now, I just don't know what you need to happen before it does happen, because I honestly believe that something very, 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 very bad, beyond what most normal people could even comprehend, is going to happen. It might take 6 months, it might take 2 years, but it's going to happen.
Linda says we are civilized people, but what do we do when some nutter has a knife and coming at us? I mean, absolutely, Linda. I mean, the problem is that it's very difficult to. How do you compensate for something like that? When someone just bursts into a room with a knife, I mean, you can't have an armed guard in every room, but I do believe that it's time. I mean, I've been an advocate of self-defense, the right to self-defense, for a very, very, very long time now, for years, because I've been the victim of attacks myself in the past. And I firmly believe that if licensed correctly and if managed properly, there's absolutely no reason why you can't allow your women and children, at least when I say children, I mean over the age of, say, 16, to be armed with pepper spray. I would say, give it on the license. You have to give your name, your address. You have to have.
I'd say, Paul, and I think that you honestly know that pepper spray is not going to cut what's.
It's not going to cut. It's not going to cut. But at least it's better than nothing. I mean, the other situation is potentially tasers. Maybe maybe it's time that people call them stun guns in America, I believe, but maybe it's time that tasers were allowed on license. I'm not suggesting that you should be able to go into Woolworths and buy if it's still existing.
The trouble is, we're going back to what I said originally, and we're doing the should. This should
Yeah.
happen. And you know that is never
It's not
going to
going to
happen.
happen.
It's never going to happen. The only thing that can happen is you get practical backup. You know, if you're around grown men, you've got them in your community, and again, it is only defense. It's obvious it's only defense. No one's interested in going out and creating violence. Nobody is. But unfortunately, what's coming our way, unless you've got an automatic weapon, I despair at the thought of what's going to happen.
Yeah. No, I agree. Thank you very much, mate. I'm going to move on. So I've got loads and loads of people waiting to get in. All the very best to you. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate that. That was Tomb Brew. Let's bring in Tim. Tim, good evening, mate.
Hello, mate. You all right?
How you doing?
Yeah, all good. All good. Thought I'd join the chat tonight. I'm sitting here.
What's on your mind?
I understand what you're saying with the self-defense and things, but honestly, what are you going to do if a nutter's coming at you with a knife? You know, you can have whatever you want in your bag. You start legalizing things. The problem is, it's not, Doris down at number 78 that's going to have the pepper spray in her bag, is it? It's the wrong ones that are going to have the pepper spray and then have an excuse to go out and use it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just think we need to be taking a leaf out of the French's books. If we want to see a change in the way the UK is being run, we need to start making life difficult for the government in that respect. I think it's the same. I've managed people for many years, and sales ways, you manage people through basically incentivizing them through their wage, and if they're not at standard, they don't earn as much. And I think if you're, doing a day's strike, which is organised nationally, if you're not paying the BBC license fee, which is propaganda, I think all these things build up. It then starts to become national press, and they can't hide from it. You look at the petitions that have been done about, how we don't want Starmer as a prime minister. It's just overlooked. And, you're on the WhatsApp groups. I am. Every 5 minutes, there's another petition coming in. It does nothing. It makes us feel good. We like to think it does anything. If the government don't like it, they strike a note through it. That's it, not being done. So I think it's a case of, personally, don't pay the BBC license bill is one thing that we could do. And it sends a message out that we don't want this kind of propaganda being thrown at us.
What about the 2 points I've brought up tonight, Tim? Is it time to relax self-defense laws? I know you've slightly covered that. The other one was, is it time for taser armed guards at Christmas markets, outside schools, etc.?
I think the self-defense laws need to be looked at. I don't know if they need to be relaxed, but I think some common sense need to be applied to it. A bit like in respect to kind of, people being knocked on their door at 2:00 in the morning about a social media post.
Yeah.
I think, the laws are there for a reason. And I think on the whole, the laws are good, but it's how they're interpreted and how they're being played out. So, I think you should, the black belt barrister had a good one earlier on today.
Yes, he did. I saw it. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, he's right in what he's saying. You've got to be careful in what you're doing. You've got to be careful how you say it. But why should you be, like you say, if you've got WD-40 or deep heat in your handbag, if you could be arrested for it, I mean, that's just absurd. It's the laws are there for a reason, but it's how they're interpreted. In regards to the tasering, I think, again, staffing issues, from what I understand, is that there's a recruitment issue within the police force and retention of police officers. I understand even armed police now kind of want to walk away from it because they're worried about, what's going to happen to them.
Down the line,
again, is that going to be any better with tasers? If you start tasering people, can we trust the police with the tasers? That's the other thing. If there's going to be a the next, march in London, and suddenly there's tasers on all the hips, and rules relaxed, and how are they interpreted?
Well, I think there's rules of engagement, and I mean, I will say one thing. I mean, a lot of people are very anti. A lot of people are very anti security guard with any weapons, etc. But my answer always to this is that I believe there are about 500,000, 500,000 licensed firearms holders in the United Kingdom. People like myself, who up until recently held a firearms license until it was removed from me. And there are virtually no crimes committed. I don't know when the last time was a licensed firearms holder committed a crime. And the reason that is because the licensing and the procedure is so strict. What I would like to see potentially is people go through that same vetting. I mean, if, for instance, I'll give you an example, Tim, right? Those 500,000 people that already have guns in the UK, none of them committed a crime with those guns last year. Not one of them. That tells me that there's 500,000 people there that you can instantly trust. Now, I'm not suggesting that they should be outside of school with a firearm, or a Christmas market with a firearm necessarily, although I do happen to believe that the only answer to a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. I've always believed that. But I think that there are plenty of people out there that are more than capable of being in charge of a taser, as an example, and being a very responsible user of it, given the right training and the right licensing.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. All I'd say is that going to change anything? Because it's almost like putting a plaster over a gaping wound. It's, look, okay, it's good to have, people with tasers at train stations, at schools, but the fundamental problem is it's a bigger issue there.
It is a bigger issue, Tim. It's a much bigger issue. One thing I would say is that if I or any one of the firearms license holders that I know and have met over the years, some of the best, most honest, most trustworthy people in the world, many of them former servicemen, if one of them had been standing outside that Taylor Swift dance class in Southport, that bastard wouldn't have got anywhere near those girls.
Yeah, but you can't have armed people, tasered people outside church halls for a sing-song. You can't have them everywhere.
No, you can't, and not unless you license a hell of a lot of people.
Yeah,
you'd have to license a lot of people, wouldn't you?
But you've got the gun licensing in America, and I personally, look, I've shot in the past. I've gone abroad and done it. I'll be honest, love it, great fun, really, really good, and enjoy it. I've got mates out in America, English lads that have moved out there. They own guns, they love it. I don't want us to go down that side of where it's, you start getting tasers, you start getting bits, and
Tim, believe it or not, I actually agree with you. I believe, and this is probably going to upset a few of my conservative American friends, but I believe that their gun laws are too relaxed. I believe that, I mean, to be able to walk into Walmart and buy a shotgun is just absolutely crazy.
Well, if you're not going hunting with it, or if it's not kept at a sports locker, I don't see the point. I don't, and I'd rather we have the stricter licenses over here. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to be able to get something, go down the range and use it when I want, like when I'm abroad and do it.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that there's the laws here, because I don't have to worry about. I mean, look, we've got a knife pandemic in this country, which is bad enough. The last thing I want is to have a gun pandemic like America's got.
But
the Americans always say to us that we've got a knife problem. Well, I'd rather have the knife problem than the gun problem.
Yeah, no, look, Tim, you know what, mate? I go along with that 100. What a great chat, by the way. I go along with that 100%. What I would say is this, is that at the end of the day, America have the gun problems that they have because their licensing is screwed. If you go to the most populated country as far as firearms in Europe, That is Switzerland, where everyone owns a gun, and there's virtually no gun crime.
Look at the makeup of the country, though.
Exactly, but it's, I go back to the old saying, it's not guns that kill people, it's people that kill people. And if you give the wrong people a Range Rover, they can go steaming through a crowd. So, look, I agree with you. To a large degree, I agree. I would like to see, personally, when I drop my kids off at school here, my grandchildren off at school out here in Spain, every morning there's an armed police officer outside. That makes me feel safe. When I pick the kids up from that school, there's an armed police officer outside. During the day, there is a security guard at the gate all day. That makes me feel safe. When I drop the kids off back in the UK, there's nothing. Anyone could go into these schools. Absolutely anyone can get in.
Yeah, I get from the point of view that it'll make you feel safer, and I think that that's got value behind it. I mean, thankfully, the last issue we had here was Dunblane, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I think as scary as it is having children and everything that can go on them inside and outside of school, I don't think it's needed here, but I can see why you'd get the security knowing they're there. But again, I just think it's papering over a problem that's far bigger. You want to go to the source of it, and you've got to look at why these constant massacres, which I know that's a strong word, but why they keep happening, and you've got to address the problem at that level, as opposed to, well, okay, it's part of life. How do we deal with it? Maybe that's a simplistic way of looking at it. I don't know.
Tim, stay there, brother. Let me bring Foxy Lady in. Good evening, Foxy Lady. How you doing? Can you hear us all right?
Hello there, Paul. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, darling. What's on your mind?
Do you remember me? I put my coat over you when you were cold down at the march in October.
I do remember. Yeah, you're the horsey lady, aren't you? Yeah.
Good to see you, and thank you for doing what you're doing, Paul. Because I watch you constantly. To keep, you're doing a fantastic job over there. The questions that you've asked, I think, are really poignant. I was in the Royal Air Force for 12 years. I am a veteran, and I'm trained. I'm firearms trained. I don't believe that giving people firearms is a good way forward, because there is an element of training that you need to use and have the discernment as to when to use it. Tasers as well. If somebody shoots somebody with a taser and they may have maybe a dodgy heart, something like that, you could end up killing that person. And then what it's like, you then become the person that is being charged. And the laws in this land are upside down, back to front, inside out. So you might think just carrying an innocent bottle of WD-40, which I have got, by the way. I went out and I got a 100ml bottle to oil my bike chain. That is, carried in my handbag. And, something like that is invaluable, because that's not going to permanently, hurt somebody, but it will disarm them very quickly. But tasers, I think tasers, like you say, like the caller before, Tim, he was saying, I don't think that's the way forward with arming people with tasers, but definitely something like perfume. Even if you've got perfume, with a spray that you can spray in somebody's eyes that's coming towards you, that will give you a chance to get away, and that you're not going to permanently hurt them, then you're not going to kill them, with a squirt of Chanel No. 5, So
you're going to keep your WD. Sorry, it'd be like.
Well, you 100 mil. 100 mil bottle.
My wife, because my wife likes to go out walking. We've just been in York for the
in
weekend.
your pocket.
It's a new city to us. Yeah, but I thought about getting like WD-40 deep heat for my wife, and look, I think it's a good idea. But here's the thing: I know my wife. She'll put it at the bottom of her bag. She doesn't have a big bag. Someone comes at her, she's faffing about trying to get, the WD-40
Yes.
out and all of that. Again, I
But
think they're not bad
Tim,
ideas, but
Tim, if you're walking your dog, you're going out. You're not going to go out with your handbag. You go out with your
my
dog,
wife
a poo
does.
bag. A poo bag and your WD-40, 100 mil. You can almost keep it in your hand, in your pocket. But the big picture here, guys, is we need to stop bringing the people in. This is
I
the
agree with
problem.
that.
We're importing these criminals, and I'm not saying that they're all criminals because we have to say that. But when you dump your license, your paperwork in the sea, and you come across here illegally, and you land in this island illegally, then that's when they need to be sent straight back. Now, I was forces, I was military. If these people were wearing, say, for instance, German uniforms, do you think they'd set foot on this land? Not at all. They would not be, the Navy would be out there. They would be stopping these people coming onto this land. Not one German soldier came onto our shores, during the war. So, they can do it, but they don't have the will to do it. And that's the thing. If they had the will to do it, it would stop. I went to Tommy's March. It's not Tommy's March. I went to the United Kingdom March. And I was there, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. But behind the stage, there was a scene playing out that was enacted on the media. And you can ask the people that were there that just behind the stage there was a scene playing out that they filmed to show the media. When in front of us was a beautiful array of millions of people, and I tell you it was millions, because when we went to the one in October there was hundreds of thousands there. And we know, and I used to go Notting Hill Carnival all the time, so I know what 1 million people looks like. And there was much more than 1 million people there. Much, much more. But they are playing a narrative out that doesn't tell the public that the danger is right on their doorstep. And we really have to look at the enemy that they're importing into this land. And we have to do something about it before it's too late.
And then that's in addition to our own bloody nutcases that we've already got here. We don't need any more, right? I mean, we're not blaming it on anyone and everyone that wasn't born here. I mean, we got enough of our own loons that we need to deal with, right?
I mean, I've been called racist. I did this. I stood outside Scampton Camp, demonstrating against having 3,000 undocumented male fighting age men put into one of our beautiful British heritage RAF stations. And I was there every single Saturday and Sunday, feeding the troops that were stood there doing the protesting. Every Saturday and Sunday, I slept in my car. And I looked after those guys that were on the front there, protesting. And I was called a racist. People would come past in their cars and scream at me, and I just was like, hang on a minute, guys. Now they're seeing it playing out in every single town, in their towns and in their places. And they're going to be the ones that are going to be crying soon, because they're the ones that can't see what's happening. We can see what's happening, Paul and Tim, but they can't see it.
Well, with the move to HMOs, it's even harder to see it soon, because that Labour have seemed to take it upon themselves Labour have taken upon themselves say, we want the hotels closed down. Again, it's one of the symptoms. It's not the hotels we want closed down. We just want to monitor who's coming in here and only have the best people coming into this country. Putting them into HMOs around the country where you don't know where they are. Again, you don't even know where to stay away from.
Since when has that been a thing? When my parents came across on the Windrush in the 60s, invited over to the UK, they struggled big time. They did struggle. I'm first generation Windrush, so me and my siblings, we're the first of that era. And back then it was horrendous. It was really hard. Now they're just letting people in, not even documenting who they are, and expecting the demographic to stay the same. Well, it's never going to stay the same, because it's changing massively, and we're not geared up for that type of demographic. It doesn't work, does it, with our culture, the culture of the UK? And so I just find it incredible that they will not stop the flow of this coming in. Yeah, because that's what we've got to do.
Why do you think they don't want to stop it? I mean, look, we know
Because of the
that they've got a
GDP.
policy to have the people over. Is that what it is? It down to the GDP of what?
It's the GDP.
We've got.
Yeah, and there's. Yeah, it's the GDP.
Guys, let me just hold you up for a minute, guys. We've got 15 people in the queue.
Okay.
Yeah, you are also on. Thank you very much for joining us. What do you want to say tonight? Welcome.
Hi again, Paul. Well,
how you doing?
I was absolutely livid over the weekend with what happened on the train, especially how quick the police were to say that it wasn't a terrorist attack. And I think in 2017, they established more ordering terrorism, which is, somebody or people in a small area to commit the most amount of injuries in the quickest amount of time before the police can get there to help the injured. And that's exactly what happened on that train. The only criteria it doesn't meet, as far as we know, is religious connotation or whether there was something that, against the state. But I feel like it's downplaying it to just, what is it at the moment? Manslaughter, attempted manslaughter. Doesn't help people feel protected. I think in an ideal world, we need to bring back stop and search. Okay, maybe we can't afford it all over the country, but let's have it outside major train stations. Let's have it again in major cities. I mean, in 1 year, there's been 14,000 knife crimes in London. So we know that there's an epidemic. And, ideally, that's what we should do. But they're ideals, aren't they? We're dealing with a government right now that don't seem to care about the safety of UK citizens. And so my idea is whoever it is you want to support in the next general election, you have got to go out of your way to make sure that you do that. If it's leafleting, if it's just telling everybody about that party, the only way that we can make change is through the system that is already there. And that is making sure, people, not just vote, but on Advance UK, you can go on there and you can order leaflets and whatever else. I'm sure they're going to do more. One of my ideas is that they should get a fleet of vans, wrap it in Advance UK, what do you call it? So that people can see who they are. Maybe, maybe like a QR number that people can go to the website on, and then have volunteers that go into high streets with a little tent and leaflets. And don't hassle anyone, but have a physical presence. Because the biggest thing that I hear when I speak to people about parties is they go, "Who's Advance UK?" And I think that's the problem. Ben Habib, unfortunately, there's a blackout on the mainstream media, including GB News and Talk News. So he's not reaching as many people as he could. And people only find you through a podcast if they're interested in that subject. Everyday people might not be aware of his presence. So I feel like we need to stop complaining and do something which is tangible. And that is get out there and make Advance UK presence known.
That's what we need to do, supporters of Advance. I mean, I'm an Advance as well, and I know you are a part of the college, Paul, and I think Ben's going to be doing that. That's what we're gearing up to do. We've only been going, Advance has only been going a few months, so we've got time to do that. But that's the whole idea, is to get more people out canvassing and talking about Advance UK.
Definitely.
Let me ask you a couple of questions before I move on to my next guest. Firstly, would you feel safer if you was allowed to carry a pepper spray in your handbag? And would you feel safer, or would you feel more assured seeing armed guards at places like cinemas, etc., carrying tapes? Would you like that, or would you?
I wouldn't.
In 2017, that's when that happened, wasn't it? When the terrorism alert was high and there were armed guards outside my shopping centre with big guns. I don't know the name of them, but they were big and they were on show. And it did feel a little bit unsettling because culturally we're not used to that.
We're not used to it.
Yeah, also there's the question of what if the people with the guns turn on the citizens. So there's that side of things. And I did live out in the States for 7 years, and I lived in a very secluded area. And there was an incident where 2 men tried to break into my home when I was alone. My husband wanted me to go down to the gun range and learn how to do all of that. And I was like, no, it just doesn't. I couldn't reckon with doing something like that. So I was allowed to have a big bottle of wasp spray that we left by my door, and I could carry pepper spray. I had a really loud grape alarm, and I also had a whistle as well. So I feel like there's things that we can do that aren't as scary as that. I feel like women especially, please get a whistle. Please get a really loud grape alarm. And was it the WD-40 for oiling your bike? I think that's a good idea. But it depends on the personality of each person, doesn't it? I'm one of those people that does get stuck in. I've just got this natural reaction that I go towards those situations to help people. But there is a lot of people that don't feel, what's the word? They don't feel that they can do that. And I think, women especially, just start thinking about yourself when you're going out. Be aware of your surroundings. Don't put yourself in situations or places where you might, be in danger. If you're on the train, be aware of your surroundings and exits or places where you could go to for safety, but don't let it consume your life, because we don't need to live in the world of PTSD.
I agree. I would say, though, that we shouldn't have to goddamn feel that way. And for me,
shouldn't have to.
The protection of our women and our children is up to the men. And unless the men are out there, unless they're ready, willing, and able to do a job with, for example, a taser, then who's going to protect you? Because most of the blokes these days, they're not even going to stand up for you.
I know.
No. Let alone when they're unarmed. Right, guys, listen, great panel. I'm going to move on because I've got so many people waiting.
Can I just very quickly say, Paul, can I just very quickly say that the best way to do this is to be peacefully, don't do anything for 3 days. Everybody just go on, literally stay at home for 3 days and do not do anything. Pay your taxes, do not do nothing, and that would cripple the government. They would have to do something. They would have to.
We may have to take that up as a campaign. What a brilliant idea. Thank you so much for that.
Just 3 days.
3 days. Let me move on. So, Piers, thank you so much for
coming
on again. Always a pleasure. Foxy Lady, thank you so much.
Thanks, Paul.
Always a pleasure. I'm going to leave Tim on for just a moment. Let's have a look. Let's bring in, hold on a minute. Let me just remove the older guest. Let me bring in Alan for a minute. Alan, good evening. And we'll bring in Pouncy.
Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. Let's bring in Alan first. Alan, good evening. How are you feeling today, mate?
I've had a biopsy done on my throat. I've had a biopsy done on my jaw. I'll wait for the results today. But never mind about me. I've got a message for all you women out there. And I'm a researcher, right? So listen to me. First, get yourself booked on a self-defense course. Second, get yourself booked on a first aid course. Because first aid is always good to have underneath your belt, right? Get yourself some, what's the name for your car? First aid kits, or one for your bag, okay? The third thing is what you need to do is you need to buy one of these. And one of these is a stab vest, right? And I'll show you how it works. There's a knife here. What? It doesn't go in, and what's the name? This is for the ladies, for your own protection, right? These are £42 on Amazon, right? Now, for people who are disabled and frightened, you can buy something like this. And it's against knives. So in case anybody throws a knife at you or tries to get a knife at you, that'll block the knife. Now these, ladies, these are for pets, right? And
what is that, Alan? What is that?
He said, I'm going to show you. What you do is, you turn it on here, and it's up. You get red light, Yeah, get a red light. You put it on your finger, and when you're taking your dog out for a walk, ladies, you have it switched on, and you get a charging lead with it as well. You also get paperwork that tells you that it's to frighten pets away from your dog or are trying to attack you, right? So you've got it on. If someone grabs you from behind, then you're going to have to use it on them, right? It's a few voltage, but the noise is loud. So if anybody jumps out on a bush or is bothering you behind you, you turn around. You don't have no earphones in or anything like that, listen to music. Keep being free and keep your eyes open and have this switched on in your pocket, on your finger, like that. You don't use it against people. You frighten them with it. That's all you do. You're allowed to protect yourself under the 4 common laws and also in the Magna Carta. I've checked it all out, ladies. I've done it for you. I've been working on it for the last few days. And because I was upset over the last 2 videos that Paul did, phoning shows, because of the ladies what have come on. And that thing there I've just shown you is for disabled people. You can also buy these. They're also advertised on YouTube. And they're about, the stab vests are £42 on Amazon. These are about £22. And these are about £38. But they're the ways that you can protect yourself. You're allowed to protect yourself. It is not against the law, ladies. And it's not. And that you will feel a bit safer.
Alan, thank you very much, mate. Good advice. Some good, what do you call it? Actions there.
Demonstrations.
Demonstrations, that's what I'm looking for. Alan, I wish you all the best, mate. Thank you so much for coming on, as always. Pouncy, what have you got on your mind, brother?
Hello, can you hear me okay?
I can. We're going to bring in, let's have a little look. We're going to bring in Robert as well, I believe. Is it Robert? Yeah, it is. Yes, Robert. Good evening, Robert. Good evening, Pouncy. Let's go with Pouncy first. What's on your mind, mate?
Some good information from the last guy there. Yeah, for me and a lot of people that are disabled, we're in wheelchairs. We can't get away. We can't run or stand or.
Yeah.
It's very hard to defend yourself if you're stuck in a wheelchair. And some people have got illnesses. If they get pushed, somebody grabs you. I've got brittle bones, and somebody can grab my arm. It could easily break, and it's very frightening that you got people that just randomly attacking people at a minute. I've got a lot of things coming up on my YouTube notifications about happening in London right now again. Yeah, whatever's happening there. It's just very scared, and it's trying to find information what the disabled people can do that are in wheelchairs. What defense have they got? If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, my belief, Pouncy, I know that probably the vast majority of people that are watching now may not agree with me, but as a former licensed firearms holder myself, I believe the way forward is with sensible and very stringent licensing for tasers, as an example, for the right people that pass the right checks. And as I said, the proof of the pudding is stats. 500,000 legal firearms holders in this country right now that just don't commit any crime. Any one of them could walk out of their house tonight and commit a crime with a firearm, but they don't, because the licensing in this country is very stringent and it does its job properly. So for me, people like yourself should have the right, once you've passed the appropriate requirements, to own something like a taser that can potentially defend your life. Let me just bring Robert in for a minute. Robert, good evening.
Good evening, Paul. Pleased to talk to you.
My pleasure.
I think that the WD-40 message you gave out last night or a couple of nights ago was a good message to people. A friend of mine who's now actually left the country and gone to Thailand because he doesn't want the government to take his money, when his wife was younger, he actually bought her mace spray in France to use.
Yeah.
And his argument was he would rather defend his wife in court with a good solicitor and barrister than visit his wife in hospital because she'd been attacked.
Yeah.
And so he took that attitude. Myself, I think that a lot of things are good that people are saying, but I think as Tim said, first of all, we are actually, we admit we're dealing with the symptoms, but we have to deal with the symptoms first of all, because people are feeling terrorized with this last attack. They say it's not terror, but if people are feeling terrorized, it's
bloody terrifying. Yeah.
It's obviously
pretty bloody terrifying if you ask me.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm a bit older, and I can. The reason I've been going to demonstrations in our area at the hotel is because women are frightened in that area, and I grew up in the 60s. I go back that far. I grew up in the 60s, and then we wouldn't be having this discussion. Boy Scouts used to walk around, as somebody said. They were allowed to wear sheath knives, and nobody thought anything of it at all.
Yeah, I had one myself when I was a kid. Yeah,
every boy had a penknife, and there was no problems at all. But really, we all know the problem. We have let people into. Well, I say we. Our ruling elite are allowing people into the country who shouldn't be here. I'm actually lucky enough. I go off to Japan and work in Japan. It's very, very hard to get your visa for Japan because they're very strict, or have been until recently, about who they let in, which means schoolgirls are safe to walk to school and home from school by themselves, wearing their short skirts that they like to wear, and there's no problem. Here, I've heard that down in certain places, you wouldn't let your wife walk out by herself in broad daylight because it's
I totally agree. Going back to Pouncey for a minute, what's your solution, mate? What would you like, as someone that is in the position that you're in? What's your opinion? What would make you feel safer?
More protection and more common sense. Is like, out of a minute, the police are against everyone, the government is against everyone, and they're just not listening or got any common sense. Yeah, what I fear, and I fear, is it's going to take something very drastic and horrific before they even wake up to see what's happening. There's you got small things all over the country, but I think it's going to be something drastic.
You wonder what else it could be that's drastic, though, don't you? I mean, it can't get much worse, can it? I mean, crikey.
The people in power just do not listen or understand. Like no common sense sort of thing. It's hard.
I know.
They can't just close the borders, even temporarily for a time.
Well, they could, but they just don't want to. You know, that's the bottom line. They don't want to. Pouncey, Robert, I'm going to let you both go because we've got so many people waiting to come in. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, mate. Lovely. Nice to see you. We're going to bring in Captain Jinner, who has been waiting for ages. And I'm going to bring in, let me just have a look. Hold on a minute. In no particular order. Let's bring in Shanae. Shanae, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the show, and Captain Jinner, we'll go with you first, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, mate, I'm all right. No problem at all.
What's on your mind, brother?
The thing is with using WD-40 and pepper sprays and stuff like that is, I think at the time you think it's okay, but then there's also, you're going to end up with a crap solicitor.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, when is defence become attack? And it's same with a scenario with you with a firearms bloke. There was a chap that he ended up going to prison for a while. He was a farmer. He got his ass robbed, didn't he? And he shot him in the back, didn't he?
He shot him in the back.
Morally, it was right, you know, and the public thought maybe morally it was right. But this is where what's Do you understand what I mean? Where does attack becomes defence, or defence?
You just got to look at
attack?
Lucy Connolly, haven't you? I mean, she got duff legal advice, didn't she?
Yeah, but look, we're talking about potentially a life-changing situation here. Now, let me tell you something, guys, and some of you may or may not know this. I have been in a position with a man standing in front of me with an axe, telling me he was going to kill me, and I had a firearm in my hands, a loaded one. I had a choice, and I took the right one. I didn't use it on him. Now, at the end of the day, if I didn't have that firearm, I believe, and I'm not going to exaggerate the situation, I believe that I would have, at very least, been critically injured. At the very least, could have been worse.
Yeah, and you did the right thing, Paul. I mean, you told the story, but I mean, you went through 6 months of hell.
I did, but I'd rather do that than be dead.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, that's
but we have to look at examples as well. Some people can do this, some people can't. So look at the knife attack. What's happened over the weekend? He went to a barber's first, right?
Yeah.
Hold
on.
Allegedly.
No,
okay.
No. We can't talk about that one now.
Right,
It's been charged. Sorry, we can't talk about that for your benefit as well as mine.
Yeah.
Let's bring in Shanae. Shanae, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Not too bad. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you perfectly, and we can see you perfectly as well.
Oh, brilliant. Not the see me bit. I'm glad you can hear me.
You look fine.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been bothered a lot. I'm 60 now. When I was from the age of 17, I've had pests. I'm 5 foot tall, and I think that's also a target when you're short. Just around the corner from where I live, one night I was coming home and I could hear a man following me, about 6 foot tall, maybe more. I thought I'd walk with a stick because I've got spine problems. So I can't run. If I had to, I can't run. So anyway, he came running behind me. So he'd slow down when I'd look around. I turn around. He'd start walking faster. I thought, I'm ready for you. You're going to get my stick. I'm going to get you. He ran so fast behind me, smashed into my shoulder, knocked me to the ground, started screaming and yelling at me. All you women think we're all out to rape you. We're all out to get you. We're all out to assault you. Go on, scream, he said. And I thought, hang on a minute. He's just proved a point. Yep. And you get a lot of men saying, this is the thing that gets me. And I know men don't realise they're saying it, but when they say, not all men, we don't know to look at you. I tell you, I've had a lot since the age of 17. I haven't been raped, luckily, but I have been assaulted. I have been pushed against with genitals. I've had my skirt pulled up on a train. I've been groped. A couple of weeks.
That's a regular occurrence on trains.
It's a regular occurrence as a woman. It's what you do, but it's getting worse. And a couple of weeks ago, I was at a crossing, and a man grabbed my arm, and I knocked him off like that. I said, "Don't touch me." He grabbed my wrist. It was a guy from one of the hotels. There's a lot of them opened up around where I am. He grabbed my wrist, and he started going, "Lovely lady, come back with me. I'll give you good time, blah, blah." Kept grabbing my wrist. I pushed him off. Now, I do carry now. After all the things that's happened to me, I do carry. I carry DP. I've also got one of those sprays that sprays red. You flick it and it turns around and you spray them. You can only use it once, but that puts the thing at the, even a body spray, you can spray it in their face or whatever. But I also have an alarm on my bag. But I walk with my finger in my pocket on the sprays. I'm so scared now, but I always listen out. I'm on edge every time I walk home. I'm listening out for every single noise.
It's
but
so
it is
sad
getting
you feel
worse.
like that. It's
I
awful.
was on my way to the shop. Yeah, I was on my way to the shop the other day, and there was a gang of them in the pathway I have to go to the shop. I had to turn back. I thought, I can't go through this again. I've been surrounded by 7, which they looked sort of Middle Eastern men. One night, I only got away because a couple came jogging through, and I'm asking the couple to help me, but they didn't speak English either. They just looked at me, looked at them, and carried on jogging. But I got away because they were looking at them. But they were taking photos of me. They wouldn't let me pass. Stay here, woman. You can't go. But I called 999 and I'm on the phone. They're still surrounding me. And the guy on the phone talked to me like I was an absolute piece of crap. And he told me, get out of there, go home, shut your door. He heard an ambulance go by. He said, is that the police? I said, no. I said, they've already told me they've got their own police. And a car came along and took them away, like with a pulley thing. And they laughed at me going home, shouting out the windows at the car, laughing at me. I was shaking like this. And
that's got to feel horrible if that's where you live and you go through there regularly.
Would you feel comfortable if we was able to have people that was DBS checked and we could have volunteers that go out on these trains with maybe a taser and a little bit of power that volunteer their time? Would that make you feel more comfortable?
I don't know, because there's a lot of different. Not all trains have one long thing, like the district line has
volunteer
a long
people
train.
And if they was willing to volunteer their time to go and do this for free, have a little bit of training, and then they could, it's always going to be random whether they're on your train or what, because these people are going to give their time up for free. So hopefully they can give as much time as possible. But would that make you feel safer in community?
It might do, but the other thing is, I mean, I was at a train station, like coming off. I know Robert Jenrick has talked about people jumping trains and stuff. I've had it a few times now where there's been men wanting to go out and they've got no pass. And they will come up against me and push themselves into me and try and get out. They even push past me sometimes and the door closes on me and I can't get back out because they use their power against you. And a guard sitting in there and I'm saying, this man is pushing himself against me. Can you ask him to stop? Can you help? He shook his shoulders.
So let me ask you a question. Would you like to be able to carry a personal taser or a proper self-defense spray?
Yes. And I think we need to. It's getting to the point now. There is no if, there is no buts, there is no, oh, maybe it'll get worse. We don't want it to get worse. It's already bad. It's so bad that, like I said, I walk along with my finger permanently on the spray and I'm looking behind me and and I'm not the only one. There are so many women doing this and I have stopped young girls. Sometimes young girls need a lot of teaching. When I was young, you were told, be careful, watch out, don't talk to this person, don't talk to that person. You know, I see girls now walking with earphones in their ears. They're walking along on their phone. And I've stopped one girl in particular, I remember, walking home from the station. I was behind her. 3 times I asked her, excuse me, so I could get past. Didn't hear me. In the end, I had to go around her and go in front of her and wave at her. And she screamed. And I said, you're screaming because I've done that. I said, I've just asked you 3 times to excuse me. And she said to me, oh, I didn't hear you. I said, that's my point. You didn't hear me. I said, I could have dragged you in a car. I could have sort of dragged you across the road into that bush over there. I said, you didn't hear me. And I said, I could have been a car pulling up alongside you. That's another thing that I stopped another girl getting dragged into a car once. And about 2 weeks before that, this is back in the 1980s, I was nearly dragged in a car going to work. And it was only when 2 guys from Rumbelows were coming along and saw me outside the shop and him with the car door open, ready to come and grab me, that they chased him off. But another time I was walking back home about 2 weeks later and another young girl, looked about 12, turned out she was 16. And the guy was walking along with the car door open, curb crawling her, telling her get in the car. So I had to pretend I knew her. Turned out she worked with my sister, which was really weird. But this is so normal. This is, for women, we've been at this all the time and people don't listen. Men don't realise how their behaviour can affect you. And when they run behind you or they're coming at you and then they get annoyed when you're frightened.
Shireen, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? And I don't want to come across as condescending, or it might even be a silly question, but I think the stories you give, they're horrific. And I know they're not isolated. I know a lot of women feel like this.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't got kids myself. It's been 40 years odd since I've been in school. Do you think there should be like a part of a lesson in school, some of the tutors, as well as don't talk to strangers. I think when you get to a certain age, you get, the talk of the birds and the bees.
Mm.
Surely it should be updated these days that, men are taken into one way of like, this is what makes women uncomfortable. And
Mm.
women should be put into a room as well about this is what's to look out for. This is how to look
Yeah.
after yourself. Because I'm not aware that that happens. And everything you say there, and I know you're not the only one that feels like that, because
Yeah.
you see it all the time on social media that, if someone says, oh, it's the usual suspects, then there's a whole raft of women underneath going, yeah, men.
Mm.
So is
Yeah.
there a place for kind of education? And not that it
I was
should be
taught that in
there.
school. I was actually
You were
taught that in
that?
school.
Yeah.
Okay.
They need to
I
start
wasn't.
teaching it in
Yeah.
school. But you will get the odd boy that's going to think it's funny to do it. He's going to think, oh, that's great. I know that'll affect them. I'll go out and do it. You will always get idiots. And there has always been idiots. But what I'm saying is now it's getting worse. I've noticed. I shouldn't be at 60. I shouldn't still be getting harassed. When is it going to stop? When does it stop? So younger girls they need to be taught. Please look out for yourself.
If it's any consolation to you, I stopped getting hassled about 30 years ago. But
I just wish it would stop, though. You can't walk down the street or someone's got to say something to you. I still get honked and I'm still getting beeped and I'm still getting people shouting, things about you out the windows of cars. And I'm thinking, please stop. It's not. We don't enjoy it. It's not a wolf whistle. Wolf whistle, they always say, oh, you can't even wolf whistle. A wolf whistle is a different thing to shouting out something about someone's body and everyone looks at you. That's a different thing altogether. That's not the same. No one is saying men can't wolf whistle. That's a completely different thing. It's when you start saying something that's embarrassing a woman in front of everyone, that's when you've got to stop. Think about what you're saying.
Some people do object to that. Sinead, I'm going to move on. Thank you so much for joining us. It was lovely to have you on. All the best. Tim, I'm going to let you go, mate, because I've still got loads of people coming on. Bye. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate it. Let me just move that out. Let's bring in Pete. Can you turn your volume down, mate? Pete, if you can bring your volume down, that would really help. Let's bring in Mrs. Gilbert Jupp. Good evening. How you doing? Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? I can't hear you.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you now. That's better.
Hi,
What's on your mind?
So I'm also married to a military veteran. We've spoken once before. You are missed from the UK, by the way, Paul.
Thank you so much.
We are thinking of you and your family, and I know what it must have taken for you to leave the country that you love with all your heart.
Yeah.
And I've been begging hubby, who is a military veteran, please get us out of here. Like, I'm a woman, I'm 4'10". So basically I'm a squid. I'm Irish, but I'm married to a military veteran of the UK. And he would not if you were to pay him, would he let me out once dark hits?
He ain't gonna run.
No, that's what he's telling me. He's not running. He thinks it's the coward's way. But I want out because I'm afraid. And I'm like, well, he's 61. What happens to me if, God forbid, he passed or something, unperturbed was to happen? And I'm not wishing it. But, Paul, I'm scared crapless like that poor woman before me.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not defense trained.
No, that's the thing. I mean, you can talk about, we can talk about self-defense training all we like, but the bottom line is the vast majority of people out there are probably either too unfit, too old, not physically capable, haven't got the courage or the backbone to do it in the first place. So, look, I'll ask you the question because this is what the show is about, basically, tonight. It's about self-defense and, security guards. Would you feel safer if you was allowed to carry something that would potentially defend yourself?
Paul, can I bring in my husband? He wants to speak, please.
You certainly can.
All right, Paul. So basically, all right, mate. Now, basically, for the lady who was voicing concerns earlier, there is a little bit of a sneaky beaky way of protecting yourself within the law, but you've got to be very careful because it can be, shall we say, modified so it's not within the law. And that is the various things that the Millwall Football Club used to use at away games.
You're talking about a newspaper.
Particularly. Yeah, the newspaper. Now, whether it's the brick, whether it's the axe or the bat, there are lots of different ways that you can protect and still be within the law. But obviously, things like the axe would not be.
No.
But basically, I sat Aoife in front of the video that is on. I won't say where. People just have to look for it. And they gave her a bloody good education. That's all I'll say.
No, but you won't let me out after dark either.
No, as a veteran, I won't let her out after dark.
I can't blame you. I don't blame you, mate, honestly.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
No, I can look after myself. Even though I'm 61, I still think I'm like a 21-year-old. Up until a couple of years ago, I was taking my shirt off if anyone had a go, and I'd go and skit you in the bastards. But you know how it is.
Thank you for your service, mate. I really appreciate that as well. I'm going to let you go. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Let's bring in, where are we? Griffiths. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hello, host.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk. I wanted to vent my problems in it when it comes to this. So, like, I'm a white man. I'm Anglo-Saxon. I think we need to start clamping down on these legal immigrants and migrants. It's getting out of control. That guy that committed the Huntingdon massacre should be deported and sent back to the Caribbean. I think if you're born here in the UK and you're from and your ancestry is from somewhere else, somewhere in the UK, if you commit a crime, you should be deported and sent back to your island. As far as I'm concerned, that would be efficient. I want to get most of the ethnic minorities in vans and sent back to their country. They don't need to be here because I'm tired of it.
When you say most of the ethnic minorities,
it's a white country and should be just for white people only.
No, I don't agree with that, mate. No. It's gone way past that, Griffiths. You know, look, you're entitled to your opinion, but at the end of the day, I mean, look at the lady that was earlier on, the beautiful lady that was earlier on, that was at the Tommy Marks. She's black. She served our country. You want to kick her out?
Hello?
No, he's gone. Pete.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
How you doing, mate? How you doing? You all right?
Thanks, brother. Thanks, brother.
I mean, I've got no room on the show for racists. That is what I call racism.
That was scumbag, man.
This is what we got to be careful of on the internet as well. You know, this is a good point where Trump comes out with. Watch out for the fake news.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is welcome on this show, whether you agree with me, whether you don't agree with me. If you've got a bad opinion, you're still welcome on the show, right? You can still, you know, I believe in free speech. So that gentleman is free to say what he wants, but I'm not going to agree with him. And that's it. Pete, what's on your mind, mate?
I just want to say, before anybody makes judgment on anything, they have to believe that do they want to be tried by 12 or carried by 6?
Well, I mean, look, you know, again, I don't want to harp on about it, but I've been in that situation, and there really is only one decision to make unless you want to just surrender your life.
You got to do what's morally right.
I just want to say that I spent nearly 10 years in Oman, and the Muslim population there are Abadi. They're not Sunni. They're not Shia. They're Abadi. And I married my wife in Oman in a Christian church, accompanied by Abadi Muslims. They were fantastic people.
Yeah.
I just want to say that they were fantastic people. But when we came back to this country, I couldn't understand this country when I came back. My wife can't understand this country when we've come back. My wife's Asian. I'm obviously British. And I was stunned by the demographic change here. And I think the problem we have is that we've lost so much identity.
Yeah.
And I've even seen that in 10 years, Paul. I mean, 10 years. How can you?
Yeah.
How can you?
It's a heartbeat, 10 years.
Yeah.
But look, guys, this is the deal. It's very simple, right? Because you're exactly right in what you're saying. But the Omanis, the people in Oman, the people in the UAE and that region, they all say the same thing. You've let all our scumbags in. Now, we've been holding a party in this country, right? And what's happened is that we've opened our front doors to anyone and everyone that wants to come in. If you're holding a party at your home, you send out invites. You invite your family, your friends, people you know you can trust, people you know that aren't going to go upstairs and start rifling through your drawers. What we've done is we've opened the front doors and gone, we're having a party, all's welcome.
And if you're in my house, you don't get to decide what wallpaper I'm putting up.
Exactly.
Can I just address two things, Paul?
Sure.
The first thing is I'm currently going through my third stage of cancer treatment.
Sorry to hear that.
And it's difficult, right? I have 6 grandchildren. I can't be the strong man that I need to be. Okay?
Mate, listen to me. You are the strong man, and you know why? Because you brought your children up, and now you're helping bringing up your grandchildren. You're on here tonight, you're thinking, you're awake, and you're fighting.
There's some good people out there that will really stand up for you, and they're just waiting in the shadows. They'll just wait, and they will step in when it's right, and they'll stand up and do the right thing if it needs to be done.
Brother.
I'm telling you that now. That's what Britain's been like. UK's been like all its history.
Pete, you know, I know exactly how you feel. Well, I say I know exactly how you feel. I don't, Pete, but I can imagine how you feel, and I know how much you love and care for your grandchildren. But you mustn't doubt yourself, mate. I mean, how old do you say? 60? Did you say?
58.
58. You're 58, mate. You're way past the fighting age. What do they say? 18 to 35, don't they? I mean, brother, we're well past that. We're all finished. Don't worry about that. I mean, I'm the shadow boxing champion in the world, and I'm even getting too old.
But Paul, the thing is, if we don't do it, who is?
Exactly. No, look, we've got to stand up and we've got to do what we can do. But first of all, you know, people say to me, "Oh, Paul, come back to the UK and fight." Come back to the UK and fight. What am I going to do? Land back at Gatwick with a pair of boxing gloves on?
Yeah.
There's no fight yet like that anyway. We're not there yet.
It's crazy. It's mental, right? So all you can do is you can do what you can do, and that's all that you can do. You can do your best, which is what I'm doing. You're doing your best, which is what you can do. Everyone that's watching this channel right now, that's in the channel waiting to come on tonight to address others, they're doing what they're able to do, and that's all we can do. And believe me when I tell you, there are millions of Brits out there right now, millions of people, and this is what angers me, is that they ain't even doing what you're doing. Then they've not even got the courage to show their goddamn face. and stick up for their grandchildren. They're hide behind their computer screen and they'll say this, they'll say that. They'll criticise you, they'll criticise me with doing nothing themselves. So listen, mate, don't you doubt yourself. You're doing the best you can do. And I respect you for it.
I just want to say one last thing. When I was out in Oman, I shown half a dozen Muslim ladies who I worked with. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's the Stacey Dooley YouTube account of her walking through Luton. Yeah. I'd shown them that and they were absolutely distraught.
Yeah. I believe
They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe what we're actually putting up with. And how long ago was that, Paul?
Oh, probably, I don't know, at least 10 years ago, I would have thought.
Minimum.
Yeah, at least 10
Must
years
be.
ago. I mean,
And
look,
they couldn't believe it. And they said, why are you inviting this evil Islam into your country?
These evil people that have their own idea of what they should be doing. Let me just unmute Julie. Julie, good evening.
Hiya.
How you doing? Just before you come on, Julie, Captain Gillett, I'm going to let you go, mate, but come on again because you were good and your audio's brilliant, by the way. Thank so much for coming on. You got a nice little setup there. Have you got a channel of your own?
I have, but it's generally used for gaming.
Oh, okay. If you want to give it a shout out, feel free. But
It's just Captain Ginner, so I'm not really bothered about the subscribers and that. It's not about that. So
all the best, mate. All the best. Take care. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Julie's gonna come on. Let me bring on let's have a little look. Jack's been waiting in the background for ages. We've got Jack and we've got Julie. Julie, good evening. What's on your mind?
Right, first of all, to that lovely man and that lady that was scared, you are not weak. They want you to think you're weak. You are not weak. We all do our little bits. Right, so never think that. And to that lady that's standing on the train, if a man pushes up against you, you know, just turn around and say, what do you think you're doing? Sometimes that's enough to shock them. What I was trying to, Paul, when I was on trying to say we need to be prepared. Also, the black belt barrister, as well as the spray, there is another spray and it's called FARB gel. And it sprays, it stains your clothes. It's like a red paint. We need to have that too. So if we manage to get away, the poor next person, at least like it's a warning, stay away from them. I think that the time has come. We need to, everyone, write to the MP and the Crown, the King, he's the Crown, but not emails, proper letters. So they're getting stacks and stacks of mail. And we need to say we want pepper spray because you have caused this. We are sitting ducks and you're telling us to be quiet. You don't police certain areas because it's not politically correct. We all know that. You allow unvetted men into the country that have different ways of thinking than us. I've just sent you an email, Paul. There was a migrant. You can't really blame him in a way. He was admitting to graping. He couldn't see anything wrong with that because that's what he does in his country. They've allowed this in. They, you know, they've opened the borders. They've told us they stop and search. It's not politically correct. We all need to write letters demanding pepper spray. Carry a tampon with you. I know that sounds a bit bad, but it's sterile. You can open it should you get hurt to apply pressure or someone near you. And we maybe need to, you know, they've made us weak. We can't, that's past now. And peacefully, we have to do this peacefully. We have to try everything. So emails, they can ignore. Thousands and thousands of letters, they can't. It's visual. So and men too, all the men too. Men are in danger. Everybody's in danger. And then maybe try a national strike.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I mean, look, do you know what? I have a bit of a plan here. But I mean, Foxy Lady was talking about that 3-day thing earlier on, and I think that was a great idea. And I'll tell you something else I think we need, that we need to do as well, is that maybe I'm wrong, guys, but I'm hoping that William might be made of different stuff of his father, and I think that it's about time the British people started appealing to our future king, not the one that's currently sitting there. Jack, good evening, mate. Sorry you've been in there for a very long time. I've just seen you waiting there. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine. Are you?
Yeah, good, Jack. What's on your mind tonight, mate?
So yeah, last night, so I think it's the night before, essentially. You know that situation at Huntingdon where we had a bunch of lefties on a train carrying knives and they started attacking everybody. Whilst that's happening, you know, Keir Starmer, Kemi Badnoch, Ed Davey, and that are going, "Oh, sorry that this happened." I'm like, I don't believe for 1 second that those people are sorry, considering that the people who caused the chaos that night are their own voters. So how do we not know that the Starmer and that sent those people to go and cause that chaos?
Jack, just clear something up because I missed the first bit. Did you say a bunch of lefties on the train? Well, which train are you talking about?
The one at Huntingdon Station, you know, that one where the stabbings took place. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, a bunch of lefties carried the knives, I think.
Well, there was one perpetrator.
It could be one perpetrator, but again, whilst I haven't seen any footage, any photos of the exact people who went on the train, but I could tell because given how the lefties have behaved, like if you look at Palestine Act, for example, they're quite violent, you know. So I'm like, how do we not know that those people might have been involved in that incident the other night? You know, it's a real possibility.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jack, the bottom line is at the moment, it's not something that we can particularly talk about anyway because it's an ongoing case with charges being put forward. But from what we've seen, that is not the case. Let me just thank you very much, Jack. I really appreciate it, mate. Let me move on to who we got waiting in the wings there. We got Julie on. Julie, you can carry on whilst I pick the next. What we got? We got Graham. He's been waiting for a long while as well. Graham, good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening, Paul. I can hear you.
Good. Just before we go any further, let me get through a couple of the supers there. Phil, self-defense sprays are classed as firearms in law. Not something you want to be caught in possession of. Absolutely. I wouldn't encourage anyone to carry an illegal spray. And if you do carry something else, don't forget you're going to, you know, or your bike chain. Laurie, down tools, the government might have to listen then. I think we could be getting to that stage. Gib boy, very soon Benidorm will be British Dawn. Jackie says, I love this lady. I'm not sure which one you was talking about, actually, Jackie, to be fair. Charlie Tango, thank you, Paul, for your vids. Keep up the good work. Bless you. Thank you so much. And the last one, Steve, UK will go like Nigeria unless Labour get a grip. Thank you for those. Right, let's have a look. Graham, what's on your mind, mate?
I think a few things, Paul. I think so. Just to clarify, are you kind of advocating for the likes of like pepper spray or a taser to be legal and to be carried in self-defense?
To licensed people, yes.
Okay. I personally take the opinion that I disagree with kind of introducing any new weapons into the UK. I think as soon as you introduce any weapon to anyone that's licensed, I think you're just promoting further violence down the line. For example, should that person that have a taser get in a confrontation with someone with a knife, how would you ever prove kind of who started what? I think it'll be incredibly difficult in a legal court to do that. And I think one of the previous people that was on the channel summarized it perfect regarding kind of legal support. I think majority of the population wouldn't have that legal support there.
This is just stunningly ridiculous.
Can I just say to this gentleman, right, what do you suggest when a female or a male is walking up the road, they are confronted, right, with an
Unfortunately, Julie, your line's cracking up badly there.
Paul, am I allowed to interject?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it, and then we'll go back
Yeah.
to Graham so we can finish
Yeah.
his point. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to interject from the lady. Listen, when you're at a disadvantage, you're a lady, you're weaker. We know that ladies are physically weaker. And as a man who is struggling with conditions that make him less stronger than the average male, then there has to be something to give the to give a plus factor to that person to be able to say, at least I've got something to be able to counteract a problem that's approaching me. Do you understand that?
I completely understand that. I think there just needs, if you could just clarify then, Paul, on the, I'm completely, obviously, on been watching your channel a very long time.
Yeah, no,
but,
listen, mate, listen, I love it when people come on and have a different opinion, especially when it's someone like yourself who's being objective. What's the right word? Subjective, you're putting it right. Okay, so look.
So, sorry, could I just ask the clarification, for example, with the gentleman in the top right-hand corner, when you say licensed people,
yeah,
were you saying kind of everyday members of the public, or are you talking kind of more people with a lot more experience of carrying these?
Okay.
Are you talking everyday people?
Well, it depends what you mean by everyday people. Let me give you an example. As I said, right at the beginning of the show, I was a firearms license holder for 30 years.
Me too, Paul.
So I know how to use a firearm. I know the rights and wrongs of how to use a firearm, when it should and shouldn't be, where it should and shouldn't be, etc., etc. But the licensing is extremely stringent. So I'll give you a perfect example, Graham. This is what I believe, and I've not worked this out to the letter, but I'm just going to think out loud. So let's say that our friend Pete here wanted a taser to protect himself. First of all, he'd have to have a clean criminal record. He's 58 years old. If he's got to 58 years of age and with a clean criminal record, you can pretty much guarantee that the guy's all right. Right? There's a clue there. He's got 58 years without breaking the law. So the first criteria is you have a clean criminal record. Secondly, he would have a psychological assessment, and his doctor would have to sign him off to say that, yes, in his opinion, he is of sound mind, and therefore he could apply for a license to carry a taser. The police would then visit his home, and the firearms officer would then make a decision, just like they do when you apply for a shotgun certificate or a firearms certificate and an FAC.
FAC.
Yeah, so ultimately the police will say, yes, this man is suitable, no, this man is unsuitable. Now, it works because, as I've already said, we've got 500,000 people plus in the UK right now. It's a silent army sitting there, and they don't use those guns illegally. The reason they don't use those guns illegally is because they're good guys. Now, the caveat to that is if you take all the guns away or all methods of self-defense away from the good guys, all you're left with is the bad guys who are armed. If someone wants to commit a violent crime, they'll use a knife, they'll use a car, they'll use a bomb, they can use anything they like, acid, you name it, they can use it. They don't need to steal someone's taser.
No permission.
Yeah, but sure, carry on. You come back to me.
Yeah, sure. I think it's a good argument. It's good to be educated on it. Can you educate me, if you, for example, those that do have licenses to carry guns, which you're comparing it to, They're not allowed to carry it on the streets, though, right? And then I think the arguments tonight have been those that are saying that they want defence when they're walking on the streets with their dog or whatever. So I don't think it's too comparable to make that comparison.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very, very good point. You're absolutely
Paul,
right.
can I come in?
Yeah, do so, mate.
Paul, we're talking about deterrence, not lethal firearms. All right, we're talking about a deterrent. We're talking about a spray that can temporarily give you a chance to escape, not the chance to kill, which is
No, I am talking about tasers, though, potentially, Pete.
Tasers are not. Tasers inherently are not designed to kill.
Yeah. The thing is, I think what Graham said is absolutely right. It's not that it's a different scenario when you've got, for example, I think what Graham's saying is if I'm walking along the South Coast Road with a taser strapped to my chest, it's not like, you know, having your firearms back at home locked away in the cabinet where the police would insist that they live. Having said that, though, Graham, I can absolutely guarantee you that if people like myself were allowed to walk around carrying a taser, wherever I was, and there are millions of people like me around the country, and a lot of them already have firearms licenses, the world would be a safer place because
100%.
We are the good guys with a gun. Just like, you know, as I say, I go back to the old saying that the Americans use a hell of a lot. The only answer to a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Now, there's an example, a very good example that is often used again in America. There was a cinema, I believe it was a cinema or a theatre. All of a sudden, some guy has jumped up out of the crowd and he's pulled a gun out of his jacket and he's going absolutely berserk. That could have been one hell of a disaster. There's like 500, 750, 1,000 people in the room, and this guy is armed to the teeth. He was taken out by a good guy with a gun. So there's a case for a firearm, and we're not even talking about firearms now, we're talking about tasers. You know, look, there's so many arguments for and against. So I do get it. The key for me, because the trouble is when you talk about self-defense and firearms, immediately everyone starts thinking about America, and it is not the best example. The best example is countries like Switzerland and the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic have less gun crime, less knife crime than we do, yet many of their citizens are allowed to conceal carry in the Czech Republic. They have
Demographically, the biggest gun-carrying country is Switzerland, with the least amount of deaths.
Right. Yeah,
gun crime.
Exactly. So the key for me, going back to Graham, the key, Graham, is this: stringent, proper licensing that is very, very tight. And I go back to Dunblane. Was it Dunblane? Was it Dunblane or Hungerford? I think it was both, actually, Dunblane and Hungerford. Both of those guys were licensed holders, but the police had let them both slip through the net when they should have removed their licenses before. So for me, it is all about licenses. All about the correct licensing. And that for me is absolutely key. It's vital, it's pivotal. It's the be and end all of giving anyone the means to defend themselves. It is their mental state of mind. And are they the right character to be able to do that? And we could say that about train drivers, right? If you give a guy who's completely bark raving mad, you don't want him driving a train. You don't want him driving a coach with 60 or 70 odd people on board. So it's all about psychological checks and licensing. Come back, Graham.
Yeah, no, I think it's good for me to obviously hear about and learn about, because I don't really know a lot about the topic personally. I think it takes incredible amount of resources, as you say, whether it comes from the police or we speak about mental health and it comes from a health practitioner or a GP. I just don't think you're talking a solution that is possible right now, given the resources in the country. Like we all know,
you're probably right.
we can't even get a doctor's appointment, let alone.
Graham, listen, mate. You know what? You're probably right. In fact, you are right. But here's the deal. This is how stupid it is in this country, right? What incident was it? I can't remember what incident it was. I think it was the one where the PC was killed outside of Parliament. Yes, I'm sure it was. And I was listening to the radio, and there was a politician on there, can't remember who it was, that said he believed it was time to start arming certain members of society. And then he said they should be people like solicitors and doctors, right? Well, half the bloody doctors are pro-Palestine. You want them with guns? Solicitors would be confused in their mind about, look, listen, we already have 500,000 people that are trusted. They've got guns at their homes right now. 500,000 people that are there, ready, willing, would be able to do the job. And many of them are former members of our armed services. Many of them are serving police officers. I'm not saying it's the answer. I'm saying that is maybe one day where we're going to be heading. Pete, I'm going to let you go, brother. I'm going to bring the last guest on, mate. Pete, I wish you all the best. Make sure you come back.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, man. I'll speak to you soon. I hope I'll speak to you soon, bro.
Of course you will. Don't doubt yourself, mate. You're doing what you can do, and that's all we can do.
Love you, brother.
And you. All the best to you, mate. God bless you and take care. Linford, good evening, mate.
Evening, Paul. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. And I'm going to bring in Faith Beyond Fear. Good evening. How are you doing? You're looking very grand, Sean. Are you looking almost regal? Like this is like we've just brought the king on. Look.
yeah.
How you doing, mate?
How you doing, Paul?
I'm
very
all
well.
right.
Nice
I'm all right. What's on your mind, mate? Nice to speak to you.
Right. Well, I got really. My point is, if we weaponise people, not everyone is in a situation or has the right mindset to be able to use a weapon safely.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was a soldier for a long time. You're trained to spot danger.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is avoiding it. I think that's what the people need. And you've got to be physically able to use a weapon.
How long was you in the military for? Can I ask you?
I did 10 years in the Green Jackets.
Well, thank you for your service. So let me ask you a question right now. As a former member of our armed services, if I gave you a taser tonight and you was the local community, I don't know, neighbourhood watch leader, whatever you want to call them, would your community be safer or would it be less safe?
I believe we could make it a safer country, if veterans were sort of like given like the knowledge that you're given and the experience that they've got, if that was actually used properly to keep the people safe. But it's secondary, isn't it? The borders should be secure.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if people need to be given safety, they need to be put in a place what's safe for them and safe for the people.
What I'm saying is this: if I lived in your street, I would be happy knowing that I've got a former. Did you say Green Jackets?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a former Royal Green Jackets guy at the end of the road that's got a taser. And if shit goes down in my street, I know that you're going to be coming out your front door with that taser. I'm going to feel safer. I tell you now, I would feel safer. And I think a lot of people would too. And you are precisely the type of person that I would advocate as to would immediately qualify for that up-to-date mental health check, criminal records check, background check, etc., etc. And if you pass all those stringent procedures, then I would like to see people like you being allowed to walk around in the street armed with a taser. Because if we've got a guy like you down every street in the country is a safer place, to my mind.
Yeah, I mean, there should be a way of sorting it out. But at the end of the day, Paul, not everybody, not everybody carrying a weapon, it doesn't always work out well. If we look at youth knife crime, see, I was a probation officer. I've done all these things. A lot of people walking around with things to protect themselves, they end up having it turned around on them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And a 20-year-old girl or a younger boy or an older guy, he could pull a weapon out, and it's not going to end up well for him. It should be left to them.
Do you have any kids? Can I ask?
Sorry?
Do you have kids? Can I ask?
I've got children. I've got grandchildren. I'm terrified about the future of my grandchildren.
Exactly. So would you, for example, I mean, would you like to see, I'm not going to ask how old they are, but let's say you got a daughter in her 20s. Would you like her to be able to carry a pepper spray with her? Or do you think that's more dangerous than...
No, I would. And also, I've spoken to them. And since young, I've shown them how to defend themselves, not just physically, but by avoiding situations.
Yeah.
And education is a big thing. We've got to educate the young people that the teacher can tell everybody that everybody's lovely, but you need to educate your kids that the world's not a lovely place.
Yeah,
and they need to be, they need to have their eyes open and their ears open and be aware.
Yeah, well said.
If I'm wrong about someone, right, and I make an assumption that person's a danger, and then I'm wrong, then I'll apologise. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. No, you are the money. Inford, good evening, mate. How you doing? Good to see you again, mate.
Evening, Paul. Yeah, just been listening, mate. You know what? Like the guys just shared, you know, my daughter's 26, Paul. I've got grandsons. I've got two little boys, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And you know what? With what happened on the train, because I get on trains like that, my kids and that live in Hertfordshire, and you know, getting on the train coming back, it terrifies me. Do you know, the thought of if anything happened, do you know, and you know, with my kids, because I'll protect them at all costs, Paul. You know, and I've got a stab-proof vest. You know, and I have to be honest, Paul. Do you know what? If I felt that I needed to, I'd carry something irrelevant of what anyone said. I'd take that risk if I felt that I needed to. You know, and with regards to what you've been saying about the CS spray, do you know what? My daughter wouldn't carry it. My ex-wife wouldn't carry it, because that's just how they are. They wouldn't carry it even if that was the case. And my ex-wife, you know, she travels into London because she's got an high-powered job in the city from Hertfordshire on one of them trains, and it's like it frightens the hell out of me, Paul. Because you know what? She's beautiful, you know, and you know, seeing how things are, it just terrifies me. It really does.
Do you know the answer? Do you know the answer to all of this? Sorry, Faith Not Fear. You still there, mate?
Yeah, sorry, actually.
Okay, no, it's all right. It doesn't matter. Your camera's off, but we can still hear you. That's the main thing. This is the bottom line. We shouldn't even be talking about this stuff. We shouldn't goddamn well have to talk about it. It's not our responsibility. We have a government.
But the reality is, Paul,
we have police.
The police ain't going to do nothing.
Well, this is the problem.
They won't look after us, mate. Do you know what I heard earlier? It just popped up on my phone. They've evacuated London Bridge Station, right? Just now, as we speak now, live. They've evacuated it. I heard earlier on. I listened to something. This Sunday's thingy Sunday, Remembrance Sunday. They're going to have the SAS there, squadrons of the SAS in the crowd, because they got intelligence that there's going to be potential things going to happen now.
Unbelievable.
You know, so they're going to have SAS squadrons in the crowd. Yeah. It's crazy.
Let me bring in last guest of the evening, Faith. No, that's not it. Sorry. Well, I'm not quite sure what that name is, but good evening. Can you hear us? No one there. So we'll remove that one because it's not, the audio is absolutely awful. Sharon, thank you, Sharon. Tried to be a guest. Was looking forward to speaking here, Sharon, but hearing everything double. I walk home from work. I always walk the main road. I carry a torch, is that has a strobe setting ready to whack anyone, no earphones in, and deep heat spray. Sharon, that's you know, again, I'm really sorry to hear that you feel that much under threat. Guys, I'm going to wind the show up because we've been going for nearly 2 hours. Bloody hell. Faith, not fear. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate that. And once again, thank you for your service. Where did you serve, my friend, if you don't mind me asking?
I think I was with your friend Richard.
Okay.
At one stage.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not so young.
Well, mate, listen, you've served your country, and for that we thank you and we pay our respects.
So, something that I need to say, yeah, and all men in this country, all young men, they need to get in a gym, they need to get strong, they need to learn how to fight, and they need to go to a church. They need to be mentally and spiritually and physically strong, and things will change.
Good message, Linford. Final word from you tonight, my friend.
Yeah, do you know what? Listening to what you say, do you know what? I come from that. You know, I used to do boxing and I mixed martial arts, so I'm with all that. But I don't believe that if someone's coming at you with a knife and they're armed, you know, unless you've got the upper hand where you can get at them quickly, and it is about getting at them quickly, you know, you ain't got much chance. You know, so. Yeah, but you know what? Like you said, Paul, you know, let's hope that this doesn't happen, you know, and we just, you know, but it's nice to be prepared.
What we need is a mayor, someone like Ant Middleton, who's prepared to go,
yeah.
We are in charge. This is what's going to happen. This is what's not going to happen. We need a
But
strong
Richard said
mayor.
it earlier on his chat. He said, you know what? The reality and the truth is no one's coming to help us. We have to be there and help ourselves. This is the reality. The police and all that, they're not coming to help us, and the government.
It feels like they've deserted us. That's how it feels
Yeah,
like.
totally. You know, so we have to be there for each other. You know, and yeah. And I feel that we are, Paul. Yeah.
I hope so. Guys, I'm going to just move you out now so I can wind down the show. Thank you so much for coming on. Guys, it's been great having you on tonight. We've had a big crowd again tonight. Before you go, can you do me a favour? Can you please hit that upvote button if you've enjoyed tonight's show? Please tell your friends this is the place where they can have their say. You don't have to agree with me. You're welcome if you do. If you don't agree with me, you're still welcome. As long as you're polite, we can have a chat. We can talk it out, talk it over. But I believe it is time. The time is coming rapidly when people should be able to defend their lives and the lives of their families. That is, for me, the most basic of human rights. So I haven't got the answer as to how we can do that. But I believe the time is coming when the self-defense laws need to be looked at and relaxed to some degree. And I also would like to see specialist security guards potentially outside our schools, outside the Christmas markets, etc., because I don't believe right now that the police are able to take care of us. And fair credit to the police over the weekend who got to that train, I think within 7 minutes, and dealt with that incident. Good on them. They went running to that when everyone else was running away. So it's not a criticism of the police. It's not enough of them. And I believe it's time that every police officer carried a taser as well. And too many police officers don't want to do that. And I understand why, because of the ridiculous way that some of them are treated after they have, in my opinion, done their job properly. We've not even had a chance to get into the regular chat this evening. That's how busy it has been. You guys have made the show, not me. So thank you so much for joining us. As I said, before you go, if you haven't done so already, please make sure that you subscribe. And most importantly, give us a quick thumbs up. Really appreciate it. I'll see you soon.